Today we're digging arrowroot, and it's all completely dormant now, which is a good time to dig. The tubers are as big as they're going to get once the plant goes dormant. So we can just pull away all of the dead stems in here, make it easier to dig. These will go on the compost pile, of course. And we'll just dig around through here and see what we've got. Whatever tubers you leave in the ground will just grow again next year and be even bigger. They'll be scattered usually, well, they all start right at the base of the leaves, so everything's going to originate right here and radiate out, so they aren't too far away from the main plant, so you don't have to dig up a huge area. I usually like the soil to be a little drier than this when I dig, but we've had some rain and there's more predicted, so I'm just going ahead and digging these now. You get all different sizes, that's kind of an average size there, but some of them get much bigger and some will be smaller. You can just leave a few of the small ones in the ground and they'll grow again for next year. I usually dig mostly by hand because you can damage the tubers real easy. That's a nice size one right there. If you use a trowel or something, you can easily damage the tubers. They do have a thin, papery covering over them that you wash off before you eat them, but it doesn't really provide much protection for the tuber. Usually if you kind of dig under the clump, you can find them and just kind of pull them out instead of digging from the top. And they're not very deep. Like I said, they all just originate right at the crown of the plant, so it's not too difficult to dig them up. They're easy to find. The plants get about 4 feet tall or so when they're growing during the summer. They get tiny little white flowers, but they're not really that showy. And they don't produce viable seed, so you have to just start them from tubers each year. So you just eat what you want and save back a few to plant. But you can see this was, one plant basically, and there are quite a few tubers. The bigger the plant gets, of course, the more tubers it'll produce. You can cook these any way you would do potatoes. So however you like your potatoes, you can do these the same way. But these have far more flavor than potatoes. They're a starchy tuber like potatoes, but they're denser. It's a more moist type of tuber, and arrowroot it's an easily digestible starch, so it's good for people with digestive problems, or they often use it. They mash it and feed it to sick babies that are having problems digesting. This plant has supposedly been in cultivation in the Americas for over 7,000 years. They've found evidence of it in some archaeological digs that indicate that. So people recognized this as a good food thousands of years ago. And actually it's been only in probably the past few hundred years that people have forgotten about it. But people are starting to be aware of it again. Actually, arrowroot flour now you can buy in the grocery store. It's used as a thickener and a gluten-free flour. The arrowroot starch is the thickener. You can process the starch yourself, but it's kind of laborious. We're kind of about 2/3 of the way around this little clump now. Here's one that has already started sprouting. It lost its tuber, but there's a little plant there. You could probably actually plant that, but it wouldn't make as good of a plant as one if you had the whole tuber attached. It's already kind of lost its energy reserves without the tuber there. Because it's been so wet, some of these have a little bit of mold starting on the outside of the sheath there that covers the tuber, but they'll still be good because that just washes right off. So there you have a nice little harvest from one clump of arrowroot. That's a few pounds right there. So it's a good tuber to grow, and it's easy. You can plant it. You don't have to do another thing to it until you dig it up in the fall.